coach of the two-time defending world champion Denver Broncos. The Broncos have won the toss. They have elected to receive. Greg Gumbel, Phil Simms, Armin Katayan. We're glad you joined us, and we're underway. Deep into the end zone, and Chris Watson will not run it out. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Broncos on their own 20-yard line. And the man in the spotlight here in Denver, Colorado, quarterback Brian Griese. In his 2nd season out of Michigan, the 3rd-round draft choice in 1998.
Well, the key to this Broncos offense today, we talked to Mike Shanahan yesterday, and he said it just comes down to one thing. Our offensive line has got to be more physical. That will enable Terrell Davis to get the ball, to get into the line of scrimmage, and make some big plays for us.
On 1st down, the toss to Terrell Davis. Davis just across the line of scrimmage to about the 21-yard line. Marvin Jones and Otis Smith on the stop. Here is the Denver offensive line. Tony Jones, Mark Schlereth, Tom Nalen, Dan Neal, and Matt Lepsis. Along with Terrell Davis in the backfield is Howard Griffith, Rod Smith, Ed McCaffrey are the wide receivers, and Shannon Sharp is the tight end. There is Gary Kubiak, the offensive coordinator for the Broncos. He now goes to a double tight end setup. Shannon Sharp and Dwayne Carswell. The toss again. This time Davis comes this way out to about the 25-yard line, where Brian Cox makes his 2nd tackle of the day. Let's check out the Jets defense right now. Up front, Rick Lyle, Jason Ferguson is out. Ernie Logan starts for him, and Anthony Pleasant is the other defensive end. Linebackers, Mo Lewis, Brian Cox, Marvin Jones, Roman Pfeiffer. In the secondary, longtime Bronco Steve Atwater returns to Denver. Otis Smith starts at cornerback after the broken collarbone back in August. There is defensive coordinator Bill Belichick of the Jets. 3rd and 5. Griese time has a man downfield and is complete along the sideline. Rod Smith. Smith to the 20, the 10, inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal for the Broncos. 72 yards.
Otis Smith making his first start for the New York Jets this season. Rod Smith been injured with a groin injury. He makes a move to the outside. Otis Smith bites on the first move. Rod Smith turns it up the sideline. Nobody there for the deep coverage. Something the Broncos have been looking for. A way to get a big play, make it easier on the offense. Rod Smith helps them.
Over the last 2 games, the Broncos had been 2 for 19 on 3rd down conversions. They come up with a big one. Here goes 4 touchdowns. Davis. And Davis is met just as he cut up the middle by Marvin Jones.
Now, Greg, I lost count after about 7, but 8 or 9 Denver Bronco games last year, and you could almost count on your hands the number of times you saw Terrell Davis cut it back up in there and get stuck that hard by a defender.
You see how Terrell Davis has performed his first 3 games of last season compared to this year. There is no comparison. It has been difficult for him this year.
Oh, it's been horrendous. It's been so physical and so tough on him.
Davis again on the toss, met before he reached the line of scrimmage, Brian Cox.
Now let me just say this too. Everybody's trying to find a reason why. We asked Mike Shanahan about running the football, and he was just to the point. Look, we're not tough enough or physical enough on the offensive line. That's the problem. The rule change about the cut blocking from the backside, it's just not true. I've asked defensive coaches. I asked Bill Belichick and the Jets. They think it has no factor on how the Broncos running game has suffered.
So now the Broncos spread it out with 4 wide receivers. Davis in motion on 3rd and goal. The throw into the end zone and overthrows everybody. Andre Cooper was in the corner. Steve Atwater was coming off the far side.
Well, the Broncos always like to come out and surprise every team they're playing. Something new, and of course this is it. 4 receivers to one side. That's the wrinkle, but look at the Jets. They make a nice adjustment, and that's the problem anytime. You spread an offense, you spread it all over the field, you can't protect the quarterback long enough.
Jason Elam with a field goal attempt from 26 yards out, and it is good.
Score, Greg. Now Mike Shanahan's going to see we had A false start takes us to the 9-yard line, probably prevented the touchdown.
Aaron Glenn receives the kickoff and barely gets it back to the 25-yard line. Rick Meyer brings the New York Jets onto the field, pressed into service when Vinny Testaverde ruptured an Achilles tendon in week 1. The former first-round draft pick for the Seattle Seahawks, number 2 overall in the 1993 NFL Rookie of the Year, and has not lived up to the promise since then. Eric Green, the tight end, is in motion, and Meyer will throw on first down and go deep. Dedrick Ward has his man beaten, and he is down inside the 30-yard line of the Denver Broncos, and the Jets answer right back.
Well, you can see both teams trying to find a way to get their offense, get them started. The New York Jets, they kind of warned us we might come out and line up Dedrick Ward and try to get him one-on-one. There he is with Chris Watson. First play of the game, it just catches a defensive back by surprise, and what a nice catch.
Terrific catch by Dedrick Ward and nicely laid out by Rick Meyer. First down for the Jets. Curtis Martin gets nothing. Trevor Price is there for the stop. Let's take a look at the Jets offensive line. Jumbo Elliott, Kerry Jenkins, Kevin Mawai, the rookie Randy Thomas, and Jason Fabini tackle to tackle. Curtis Martin and F-back Richie Anderson, Keyshawn Johnson and Dedrick Ward, the wide receivers, and Eric Green is the tight end. Eric Green has not produced the way the Jets would have liked him to produce this year. Bill Parcells hoping he gets more into the offense today. Meyer comes this way, throws for Keyshawn Johnson. Is it a touchdown? It is a touchdown. 26 yards.
Well, the best thing Rick Meyer does, I think, as a quarterback, he has very nimble feet, is it enables him to move around the pocket. Watch what happens. The pocket kind of collapses, looks down the field, there's nothing there, but he really does move well in the pocket. Gets outside, and Keyshawn Johnson, that's what's important. The quarterback moves, break your route, go to the open spot, they get an easy touchdown.
76 yards in 3 plays for the New York Jets, and John Hall on to attempt the extra point, and it's good. Keyshawn Johnson. Bill Parcells says, our coach isn't stupid. He knows we won last year by getting me the football. I believe he'll do it again. John Hall set to kick off after the Keyshawn Johnson 26-yard touchdown catch. Chris Watson will take this one at the goal line. 15, 20. Room to run. 40. And dragged down at about the 25-yard line by Marcus Coleman. 76-yard return.
Well, he gave up the long pass to Dedrick Ward. He makes up for it right here. Chris Watson, the rookie, does a nice job of following his blocks, sees a little crease, and then he just uses that speed to take off. And Marcus Coleman, number 42, showing really good speed, chasing him down.
They now say that he stepped out of bounds at the 31-yard line, so we'll make that a 69-yard return. And it's first down Broncos at the Jet 31. Davis sneaks through to about the 25-yard line. In time for our first NFL Today update. Let's go to Jim Nance in New York. Jim.
All right, Greg, a little divisional game out there in the AFC West. Play action. Elvis Gerback across the middle to Joe Horn. Horn in the end zone for the second straight week. Chiefs strike first against the Chargers. Dance time there in the end zone. Let's go back to Greg and Phil.
All right, Jim, thank you. Gunther Cunningham's Kansas City Chiefs may be developing a little bit more self-confidence as the season goes on.
We had them buried in the preseason, so...
You had them buried. I had faith.
No, you did.
Brian Greasy to throw. This side all alone. Shannon Sharp to the 2. Aaron Glenn makes the stop. That's a 24-yard pickup.
Well, something the Broncos have been not doing in their first 3 games, and that is throwing the football down the field. So far today, a couple passes. Watch Shannon Sharp. Here he comes. Play action. The Jets, they just look like they blow the coverage down the field. People out of position. Aaron Glenn has to come and save the touchdown. But so far, the Broncos looking to throw the football down the field.
First and goal at the 1. Terrell Davis, touchdown, standing up.
Almost a bad exchange by Brian Greasy and Terrell Davis. But this Denver team, they want to run the football up the middle. That's where they have great success. Good blocking by the center, Tom Naylor.
Jason Elam, whose field goal earlier allowed him to set a point scoring record for the Broncos, adds another one here. 745 in his career. Terrell Davis finds the end zone, and the Broncos are on top. It's already a barn burner here. Welcome back to Denver, everyone. Aaron Glenn, Kevin Williams deep for the Jets to receive the kick. This will be Aaron Glenn at the 1. The 20. And across the 25 to about the 26, maybe the 27-yard line. And the Jet offense will go back to work. Monday on CBS, the King. Jets go back to work on offense. Denver Broncos fans probably have seen more big plays from their team in the first 4 minutes of this game than they have all season long combined. First down from the 26, Meyer to throw. Out into the flat, has his man, Keyshawn Johnson has first down yardage. 12-yard pickup on the play. Let's take a look at the Denver defensive lineup. Ma'atanavasa, Lodich, Trevor Price, Alfred Williams across the front 4. Linebackers Glenn Kadrez and Romanowski flank the rookie Al Wilson. In the secondary, Crockett and Dale Carter on the corners, Eric Brown, Tyrone Braxton the safeties. First down Jets at their own 37. Meyer throws out to Richie Anderson, who dropped the football.
Well, a couple things about this Jet offense today. One thing, they would love to just line up and run the football. Teams, the first 3 games, the other offense has done a good job of kind of overpowering the Denver Bronco defense. But the problem is, the Jets are not a power-running football team, so I think it's going to be hard for them to run it.
You see the Jets' play selection so far. 4 passes, just 1 run. Bill Parcells told us yesterday he's calling all the offensive plays. Curtis Martin to about the 43. That's about a 6-yard pickup, and Torrey James is there for the stop.
Yeah, that was a surprise to us. I had to ask him a second time. I said, "You're what?" He goes, "I'm calling the plays. It's not that difficult. Let me show you how to do it." And he
pulled out that little card right there.
That card, and he just went with it. I'm sure he's getting a lot of advice from Charlie Weiss, the offensive coordinator. But when your team gets off to a bad start, head coaches are going to do whatever they think it takes to get their team righted. So Coach Parcells thinks calling the plays, that's going to help his team.
Parmalee in the backfield on 3rd and 4 for the Jets. He gets the call. He has running room, first down and more. 45-40 into Denver Broncos territory, and Tyrone Braxton saved the touchdown.
Now, Greg, I told you this team doesn't they're not a power running football team, and they're not. These last 2 runs, this is what they do best. Draw plays, counters, catch the defense off guard. In other words, almost like they want to trick you. That's what they're very good at. Bernie Parmalee came in last week, ran very well, and he's kind of a little more of a power runner than Curtis Martin, so he's a good changeup.
Eric Green now ahead of Curtis Martin in the backfield on first down at the 39. Martin turns left and down to about the 35. Loose football. And the play was blown dead back at the 35. So it is still Jets ball at the 35-yard line. A pick up a 4. It'll be 2nd and 6.
I heard the whistle. Did you?
I heard the whistle.
Okay. I didn't know. You know, sometimes when you reach a certain age in life, certain things start to falter. I just wonder.
Yes, but it's this amplification of sound in one's ears. That's a lot of yardage so far.
I thought this would be a grinded-out game, low scoring.
Meyer to throw. Over the middle. Has Keyshawn Johnson inside the 25, and that'll be another Jet first down. Time for another NFL Today update, and once again to New York and Jim Nance. Jim.
All right, overtime in Atlanta, and a former Bronco cut in training camp this year. Justin Armour on the receiving end of this pass from Stoney Case, and Atlanta drops to 0-4. Case closed in Atlanta. Let's go back to Greg and Phil.
Ooh, Case closed. Jim.
Kind of getting to be a jinx to have played in that championship game.
Keyshawn last play, really nice catch over the middle in traffic.
On first down, Meyer to throw, has a man, and it's intercepted. Intercepted by Ray Crockett. And the Broncos put the clamps on the Jets at the goal line, and Rick Meyer just took a look over at his receiver and spread his arms as if to say, what happened? Back to Mile High Stadium.
But I could look better in a barrel than that. Not a lot much, you know, not a lot, but better.
The handoff to Terrell Davis. And Davis with a couple. Maybe one. Let's go back to the interception.
Well, what happened? Rick Meyer, you saw him raise his hands. We saw Bill Parcells yell at Dedrick Ward. Here he is. He's going to go down. Ray Crockett. Break across the middle, safety going away. It's perfect. Watch Dedrick Ward as he goes down. He slows down, lets the defender cut in front of him. That play was designed and set up perfectly to make it happen.
Greasy this time fakes the handoff. And out of the backfield is Howard Griffith. And we welcome those of you who have been watching the game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Atlanta Falcons. The Ravens 19-13 winners in overtime. Here, the Broncos lead the Jets by a score of 10-7.
You know, Greg, talking about that interception that Rick Meyer threw, the one thing you have to rely on as a quarterback, receivers, when they're going across the middle or any type of in routes, they will not let a defender cut in front of them for an interception.
Third and short yardage, Terrell Davis. And if he got it, it's a hard-fought 2 yards. You mentioned during the timeout, Phil, Terrell Davis has already taken some pretty tough hits here today.
Well, this year he has taken a lot of tough hits. He's working hard just to get those 2-yard gains. And what you have to think, a couple things when I see Terrell Davis. Even for all of his success that he's had in his career so far, MVP of the league, all those things last year, there has to be some self-doubt creep into his mind because he's having no success. But the other thing is the big hits, the number of consistent, solid hits has to wear him down.
Greasy rolls this side, has time, now throws out here to Griffith, complete. And Griffith is brought down, and that may be a no-yard gain. Mo Lewis was there to make the stop.
And I'll make a good case. There's so many, everybody wants to know, well, what's wrong with the Broncos? There's no defining thing. Of course, they lost a great player, but that play right there, Brian Greasy off to a good start. Last year, when John Elway would fake it and roll out, those receivers were wide open every time. Now Terrell Davis, he's not such a threat that people are looking at it. Greasy's rolling out on those play-action passes, and it's hard to find an open receiver.
On 2nd and 9, the fake to Davis. Greasy over the middle, overthrows his man, and dropped by Victor Green.
Well, right from the start, that play had trouble on it. Trouble written all over it. Brian Greasy taking a chance, trying to throw it down the middle. I think the ball just gets tipped. Otherwise, Victor Green, he saw it coming all the way. He's going to get the interception. Pretty risky throw by Brian Greasy, but being aggressive, trying to make the plays, that's the way you should be. Sometimes you got to take some chances.
Greasy now 4 out of 6 for 102 yards. And Rod Smith and Andre Cooper on the field. Greasy from the shotgun. Over the middle, and this one is intercepted. And it's Victor Green who holds on this time and is knocked out of bounds inside the 20-yard line.
Greg, you remember when the game started, I said they play for inside routes to happen on this Denver passing game.
And Brian Cox mixing it up with center Tom Nalen.
But watch what happens. I'll show you.
Got off the ground and began to walk back to the bench after this play on Victor Green.
Foot gets planted. Matt Lutz is his teammate making the tackle. Very fortunate that he's able just to get up and walk away from the play.
Meanwhile, the New York Jets in great position. First down from the 18. On the end around, Keyshawn Johnson escapes one tackler, can't escape the second. Trevor Price tackles him for a 1-yard loss.
Well, that's a good job of the Denver defense. Don't get over anxious. Don't chase the play. Run where you're supposed to. That's what stopped the reverse that time.
I believe you did say something about trickery and finesse a little earlier.
Well, the Jets, even Bill Parcells told us what, before week 1, we're doing the Patriot game. He goes, oh, it's pathetic. We have to do everything in the world just to make some positive plays.
2nd and 11. Martin spins away from one tackler and into the arms of another, make it a 3-yard pickup. Bill Romanowski with the stop as we come up on 1 minute to play here in the first quarter.
And the big thing, we said it, Mike Shanahan told us yesterday, a lot of simple things, very intense when he said it. We got to run the ball, but he says our defense, if you cannot stop the run, you are just going to have a hard time doing anything positive on the defensive side of the football.
The Jets with 101 yards throwing, 30 yards rushing. In fact, both teams throwing the ball very effectively. 3rd and 9. Meyer from behind goes down at the 26-yard line. Ray Crockett coming in off the corner for the sack.
Well, that's a good call by Greg Robinson, the defensive coordinator. He did it earlier. The Jets didn't adjust to it. Watch Ray Crockett. Here he comes. Before, Rick Meyer got rid of the football just in time. This time again, doesn't see him. Nobody open down the field. You take a big sack.
Meyer was sacked 6 times by the Redskins last week. John Hall now from 43 yards away will try to pull the Jets even at 10. It is going to fade to the right, and it is no good. John Hall now just 7 of his last 14 attempts from 39 yards and more.
Well, the Jets, here's how you look at it. Denver looks at it. We made 2 good stands. The Jets, a receiver runs the wrong route, costs us an interception, some points. Don't see the blitz. We take a sack. Now it makes my place kicker miss a field goal that he might have made if it was a little closer.
Our man on the sidelines this afternoon, and we get a chance to check in with him, is Armin Katayan. Armin.
Hey, Greg, I just was standing right near where Terrell was being worked on. It appears they're working on 2 parts of his body, lower body, his right ankle and his left knee. Obviously, a great deal of concern, a little bit of confusion right now, but Terrell is in a lot of pain. Back to you.
All right, Armin, thank you. And now, Terrell Davis appears to be walking, and maybe he may be leaving the field. Derek Lavelle is in the backfield on first down. Greasy going to throw long for McCaffrey. Has his man beaten and pulls it in. No, incomplete. Victor Green and Aaron Glenn were running with it.
That play, perfect throw by Brian Greasy. Gets nice elevation on the ball. Look at that, right in there, perfect. Good job by Aaron Glenn. Once you juggle that football, you got to knock it out. And I was watching Coach Mike Shanahan. That play happened right in front of him. And, of course, you can guess what his gesture was when it was dropped by Ed McCaffrey.
Terrell Davis leaving the field. This will be the last play of the first quarter. 1 second left on the clock. On 2nd and 10, it's Lavelle. Then Lavelle is hard at the point of attack. Steve Atwater coming up from the safety spot to make the tackle. And with that,
I saw excitement, and I tell you what I saw, Greg, from both sides. I see the reasons why they're 0-3. Breakdowns they would usually never make that are costing themselves scoring chances.
Rod Smith on the receiving end for first down yardage from the pass from Brian Greasy. Pickup of about 10, and that'll be a first down for the Broncos. We remind you, coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report, Jim Nantz, Craig James, Randy Cross, Jerry Glanville getting caught up on scores and highlights coming up on the NASDAQ halftime report. You and I have been hearing it all weekend long, Phil, how both these coaches said, as you said before, there are no super teams in the National Football League this year, and 0-4 will not completely eliminate you from the playoff picture, but it will hurt you. Derek Lavelle for a couple. Let's check in with Armin Katayan. Armin.
Thanks, Greg. That injury to Terrell is on his right knee, a little higher than I originally thought, a sprained right knee, and right now his return is unclear, according to the Broncos. Back to you.
All right, Armin, that means that the ground game falls to the 9-year veteran out of Oregon, Derek Lavelle.
You know, I got to say, Armin, welcome back. He's been gone the last couple weeks. I'm glad to have you back. I don't care what Greg says. It's good to see a pretty face on the sideline.
2nd and 7. Greasy with time, now on the run, throws. What a catch by McCaffrey. Across midfield to about the 46-yard line. See Atwater there to make the play, but what can you do about a catch like this?
Well, there's nothing you can do. I'll tell you, the Jets do a lot of good things on defense, and Brian Greasy does the smart thing, throws it behind Ed McCaffrey, but the problem there is that could be knocked up in the air. A lot of things can go wrong, and fortunately for the Broncos, it was a nice catch by Ed McCaffrey. But again, Greg, the play action he rolls across, teams, they see it from so many teams now in the NFL, nobody is open when they're all running to the right like that, waiting for Brian Greasy to throw.
McCaffrey comes up short of a first down.
You know, this league is amazing. It adjusts. You might have a wrinkle that really works, but just give the league a little time. Everybody in the league will learn, they see it on film, and they adjust to it. It used to be that misdirection pass like that was just a gimme. Now you got to come up with something really innovative and really catch the other team off guard just to make it work.
3rd and short yardage for the Broncos. And Greasy appears to have the first down. We asked both these coaches what they were looking for out of their teams. Bill Parcells says he was looking for Rick Meyer, his quarterback, to be more aggressive, while Mike Shanahan was looking for his offensive line to be more aggressive at the point of attack.
Well, Mike Shanahan, as I just sit here and I watch him on the sideline, I wonder what goes through his mind. They came into the game, they want to be physical, they want to establish and give themselves a good pace of the game, and you can see they're going to, Brian Cox is arguing over the placement of the ball.
Boy, Brian Cox was really entertaining to listen to as we talked to him yesterday.
But I'm talking about Mike Shanahan. What does he do as a coach calling the plays now? You've got to change your thoughts. You don't have Terrell Davis anymore. Now you got to kind of reload, rethink, and Brian Greasy's got to be a bigger part of the game.
First down at the 45. McCaffrey in motion to the near side. Greasy to throw again. As his man open, it is Shannon Sharp, and Sharp out of bounds at about the 25-yard line. Once again, Shannon Sharp breaks free in the Jets secondary.
Well, again, Greg, let's say it one more time. They are throwing the ball down the field. Shannon Sharp, number 84, goes down. The Jets again get confused in the secondary. Nobody even around him. Little crossing routes in the middle of the field. Shannon Sharp comes free. Easy pass, easy completion.
First down now at the Jet 25-yard line. Sharp and Dwayne Carswell, double tight ends for the Broncos. Greasy, play action, looks for McCaffrey, end zone, and overthrows it.
Now, there's a lot of reasons why we've watched the Broncos today looking for these shots down the field, throwing it. Hey, they're playing a different defense. It's not Tampa Bay in Tampa. It's not Kansas City there. And the Miami Dolphins here in a Monday night football game. You're talking about 3 of the better defenses, if not 3 of the top 5 defenses in the National Football League.
Meanwhile, Jet defensive coordinator Bill Belichick trying to figure how to put the clamps on this runaway offense up and down the field so far here this afternoon. Greasy going to give it to Lavelle. Lavelle running room. And across the 20, across the 15, and down to about the 13, maybe the 12-yard line. 14-yard pickup and a first down for the Broncos.
As we sit here today, you watch this offense. This is the offense everybody got used to seeing last year. Big passing plays, hard running up in the middle. Oh, good job, Dan Neal, number 62, staying with his man. Good patient running by Derek Lavelle, waiting for the hole to open up, not just running up the back of his offensive lineman. That's why he got such a big game.
Lavelle 3 of 17, 10th play of this drive. And Lavelle again to about the 10.
I'm seeing some space in the defense for these runners.
Derek Lavelle has been backing up Terrell Davis these last few seasons. Has seen time in Seattle, San Francisco. This is 3rd year as a Bronco.
I've always said to you, when you watch these guys, Terrell Davis so good, but they take on some of his mannerisms, and if you didn't see the number on the back, you'd have a hard time picking them apart.
Lavelle again, straight ahead. Picks up about 4 on the play.
Well, you talk about Mike Shanahan must be sitting over there calling plays going, now this is better to get in the rhythm. A lot easier for a coach to decide what he's going to call when you can run that football and be physical up front. 3rd and 3 or maybe 4 yards, he still has the option of running this football, maybe catching the Jets off guard or throwing it.
Sharp and Byron Chamberlain are the tight ends. Greasy going to throw it over the middle, intercepted. Intercepted by Victor Green, his 2nd of the afternoon. Well, Brian Greasy looked for a receiver who wasn't there. Victor Green on the receiving end for the 2nd time today. On first down, the give to Curtis Martin and running room up the middle across the 30 to about the 31.
Let's take one more look at the interception. Now, I don't know if Shannon Sharpe is supposed to change his route, but what happens? See, he's breaking back out. Victor Green standing there. And I tell you, Brian Greasy, watch. He makes him cut back and lets Shannon Sharpe catch him from behind. If he doesn't do that, it might be a touchdown the other way.
2 interceptions for Victor Green today. 2nd and short yardage for the Jets. And first down picked up by Curtis Martin as he pushes Tyrone Braxton back.
But see, Greg, that's why you blitz. And especially now you kind of see why you blitz a young quarterback. You make them think a little faster, make that decision maybe before they're ready, and they make a mistake. Now, I'm not sure it was his fault, but I'm pretty sure it was.
First down for the Jets at their own 35. To Martin, follows a block by Green out to about the 37 or 38, and a pickup of 3 on the play.
Wow, now Eric Green, number 86. How would you like to be the linebacker, or hey, I don't even care if you're a defensive lineman, taking this guy on the move, running. Watch, he's going to come back, little counter play. Sees Glenn Cadrez. Well, Glenn Cadrez does a smart thing. Kind of get out of the way and see if you can fall from behind and make the play. But Bill Parcells said when healthy, Eric Green is a devastating blocker. Hasn't seen it so far this year, though.
2nd and 6. Pass out here complete to Richie Anderson. Anderson 45 and out of bounds at the 48-yard line. That's enough for a Jets first down. Bill Parcells promised us. He said if we run 50 plays tomorrow, 25 will be passed, 25 will be run. He says, my intent is perfect balance on offense.
Well, he must have a clicker in his pocket then to keep track of both. I don't know. Well, it's pretty close. 9 rushes, 8 passes. And I think the thing is, Greg, you can do that. A lot has to happen for you. One, you got to be physical up front, but your quarterback, when you throw it, has to be productive.
Meyer gives to Martin. And Martin to midfield for a couple. We'll take this opportunity to remind you to log on to NFL.com for this week's player spotlight on Raiders defensive back Charles Woodson. See why the second-year player is already playing like a veteran only at www.nfl.com.
You do that well.
Thank you.
I can't say. Yeah, I can. www.
And not www.
Whatever.
2nd and 8 at midfield for the Jets. Quick drop from Meyer. Pulls it back down. On the run, and he's going to throw it away. He is run out of bounds by Glenn Cadrez.
Well, you got to say so far today, Rick Meyer looks like a different quarterback from the one we've seen the first couple of games. One, he looks positive when he's back making his decisions, throwing the football well. And it looks like the Jets, no more of this trying to take care of the quarterback, work him in the offense. Bill Parcells just calling plays the way he'd want to if he had Vinny Testaverde back there.
Richie Anderson and Bernie Parmalee are in the backfield now as Meyer works out of the shotgun on 3rd and 8. Meyer on the move, going to throw it downfield, and his receiver didn't turn up the field. That was Keyshawn Johnson, who was double covered on the far side. And we are about to see our first punt of the game with 7:14 to play here in the first half.
Greg, I think we both even said you can kind of feel the tension. You can see the excitement. Both teams realize what this game means, the pressure. Both coaches, they don't want the players looking at the rest of the season like they have no chance of getting back in the playoff race.
Chris Watson back at his own 10-yard line. And a high floater by Tom Tuca. Watson from the 9. Out to the 15 and then pulled back by Dwayne Gordon. 41-yard punt, 6-yard return. And on the far side, Bill Parcells looking to light up.
And by Agilent Technologies, dreams made real.
Rick Meyer, Keyshawn Johnson in conversation on the sideline as the Broncos take over on offense. And on first down, 3-seated throw. Has a man out of the backfield, Howard Griffith, and Griffith down to the 22 for a pickup of about 5. Steve Atwater on the tackle, Armin Katayan down on the sideline.
Thanks, Greg. I'll tell you how tough it's been for the 0-3 Broncos. Guard Mark Schlereth this week is an 11-year veteran who commands great respect in the locker room, in part because he's had 25 different surgeries. Stood up and said, you know what, let's forget all this finger pointing. Let's look back to last year, remember how good we are. We did it because we played for each other. That's all well and good, except a couple things happened today. I'll get back to you on a thing on a paper.
Derek Lavelle with running room across the 25 to about the 27. That's about a first down for the Broncos. Go ahead, Armin.
It's Greg, you know, to finish this story, that was all well and great until today. This headline in the Denver Post, teammates shun smug Greasy. Basically what it said was that Brian Greasy was a little bit too cocky for his own good, a smarter than now attitude, and that it really turned off some of his teammates. They said he had to play smarter, a little bit more emotion, a little more passion before they would care about him. Back to you.
All right, Armin, thanks.
You know, that's some pretty strong stuff to say about a second-year quarterback in this situation.
Lavelle out to about the 33-yard line. Determined run. Jason Wilkes with the tackle.
Now, you know, Brian Greasy, really no matter what he does, the only thing he can do to make everybody be happy, get off his back, is, of course, win every game and play well. You know, John Elway never lost a game as a quarterback for the Denver Broncos. And so it's such a tough situation. You got a veteran team that has won 2 Super Bowls. To put a first-year starting quarterback in there, hey, not only his play, but how to act is a tough thing for him, too.
Well, looks for running room and doesn't find any. He's brought down at about the 34-yard line to pick up about 1 on the play. Wiltz and Victor Green. Well, you know, go back to your days as a young quarterback. How do you acquire the respect of your teammates? Is it on-the-field performance and that alone?
Oh, it starts, you got to make the plays on the field. You got to demonstrate to your teammates and coaches that you can win football games. When you do that, then you start influencing your team with your personality. But first, you must do it with your physical ability.
3rd and 3. Greasy on the sprint out. The ball batted in the air. There's a penalty marker down. Mo Lewis had a hand on the pass. And the call goes against the Denver Broncos.
I tell you what, that was a case of points.
Number 89, offense. That penalty will be declined. 4th down.
That's the tight end, Dwayne Carswell.
That was the Jets, knowing the Broncos on 3rd and maybe 4 or less, love to move the quarterback and throw that quick pass in the out. They gambled. They let Dwayne Carswell run down the field uncovered to stop the short pass. I'm sure the coaches on the sideline are going to tell Brian Greasy about it.
Tom Ruin will kick it to the speedy Dedrick Ward, standing at his own 20-yard line. Terrific punt by Ruin. Ward back to his 12. And here's a penalty as Dedrick runs out of bounds. That is going to go against, let's see, 55-yard punt and a 10-yard return. Looks like Chris Hayes may be guilty of an illegal block in the back.
Illegal block in the back, above the waist, number 30, during the return. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Number 30 is Chris Hayes, the 3rd-year man out of Washington State. The Jets will start deep in their own territory when we come back. The first half, Denver with a 10-7 lead on the New York Jets, along with Phil Simms and Armin Katayan and our ace CBS Sports crew. I'm Greg Gumbel at Mile High Stadium. And Rick Meyer gets set to go to work again. And it's getting noisy here at Mile High. Meyer to throw. Flips it forward. Curtis Martin out of bounds at about the 15-yard line. About a 6-yard pickup on the play. Bill Romanowski ran him out of bounds.
Bill Romanowski, one guy you can count on that hadn't lost his intensity, which is, I think, one of the problems the Broncos have had. 2 Super Bowls, you lose a little bit of intensity. He hasn't. He's played hard and played well so far this season.
Curtis Martin. And Martin out to about the 20-yard line, and that'll be enough for a 1st down.
Boy, you see Curtis Martin running up in there. Watch what he does this time. And I just noticed it the last couple of times he's run. Watch both of his arms. He's not even going to think about taking him off that football. He had a big fumble in the game, the AFC Championship game last year.
We talked about Eric Green before. Look at the block that he throws to spring Curtis Martin. 1st down, Jets. Meyer for Keyshawn Johnson. And that's a pickup of maybe 3 or 4 on the play.
You know, I like what you said earlier in the game. You were going to a commercial, and I didn't get a chance to get back at you. What did Keyshawn Johnson say about Bill Parcells?
He said, you know, Coach isn't stupid. He knows that we won last year by getting the football into my hands, and he will make it a point to get it there again.
You know, Coach is going to be happy to know that he's not stupid. That'll be good. But it is a good case in point. This offense, Keyshawn Johnson, he's one of your playmakers. You got to find ways to get the football in his hands.
2nd and 5. Meyer under the gun and goes down and bent backwards at the 20-yard line. Trevor Price, who had 3 sacks last week, chalks up another one here today.
Well, Trevor Price, he is the beneficiary of pressure up the middle. And what he does here, he is number 93. He goes outside. They force him up inside. Joe Burrell, look at him. He's looking, where's Rick Meyer? When the quarterback moves, you're on your own. The linemen, they do not know that. And Trevor Price, he's counted upon very heavily by this Bronco defense.
Trip hop, as we yelled to him down the hallway yesterday.
Yeah, that's the music he likes.
He likes to create music at home. What kind of music is that? He says, well, it's trip hop. Okay. 4 wide receivers for the Jets on 3rd and 10. Looks to the far side for a screen that didn't develop, and now he just throws it away, and a penalty marker flies.
Offensive lineman down the field.
Rick Meyer pleads his case. Neil Smith seems happy with the decision.
Well, they were setting up the old let's run right, the old shoot screen, throw it back to the other side, but Denver saw it. That's the old shoot screen. Everybody goes, oh, shoot, I went the wrong way.
Yeah, that's how it goes.
Ineligible downfield, number 68. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
That's Kevin Mawai, and I'm sure he thought that play was developing a lot faster than it did.
Nobody to throw it to. I've told you about the old shoot screen many times, though.
Yes, you have.
I think Sam Weiss is like the first guy or the first coach to kind of put it in. He used to have his guys fall down, and everybody would run over. His guy would fall down, then get up and go the other way. And it worked.
Chris Watson back at about his 30-yard line. And Tom Tupa the punt. Wobbling kick. Watson on the run. Drops it. Picks it up. And is tackled inside the Broncos' 40-yard line. Chad Cascadden with the special team stop. Clock is stopped with 1:53 to play. Up on the NASDAQ halftime report, Jim Nantz, Craig James, Randy Cross, Jerry Glanville with all the scores and highlights. That's coming up once this half winds down on the NASDAQ halftime report. You know you've had a bad season, Phil, when you say about the Denver Broncos, this is the latest that they have led in a game all season long. They have the ball in a 3-point lead. Brian Griese over the middle. His pass is incomplete. Intended for Rod Smith, and there to break it up was Otis Smith.
That's the identical play we saw Ray Crockett make the interception on Dedrick Ward. The good thing is, good play by Otis Smith, but look at the receiver. Stays in front of the defensive back. Even though Otis Smith saw the play, diagnosed it, couldn't make the interception because of the receiver.
Griese and the Broncos now with 2nd and 10. Straight drop for Griese over the middle. This time he finds Rod Smith. And that'll be about a 7-yard pickup.
Griese hung in the pocket that time. It looks to me, as you watch this game, they are trying to pick on number 45, Otis Smith. Let's see the hit he takes. Not too bad.
So a big 3rd down play now for Griese and the Broncos. 9 of 17 for Brian throwing the ball today. They have to reach the 49-yard line. Deep drop. Griese has McCaffrey first down across midfield into Jets territory at the 47-yard line. And with the clock stopped to 58 seconds to play, we'll take a time down at the Jet 47. You were going to say?
You can see the new stadium they're building right next to this one on that aerial view.
Shannon Sharp in motion. Griese throws Sharp this side and out of bounds inside the 40-yard line. 7-yard pickup. Steve Atwater there to lay the hit on his former teammate. We asked Steve, you know, how's it going to feel when you come back here? And he says, well, you know, I imagine it'll be a little bit of a tingle inside, but once the game starts, you got to get down to business. There's work to be done. Boy, what a history he had here. 8-time Pro Bowler. His first 10 years of his career in a Denver Bronco uniform before he joined up with the Jets. Griese on the move and throws it away. Signaled to his tight end, Dwayne Carswell, to take off upfield, which Carswell didn't do.
Didn't have time. There's nowhere to go. But a good job. This is where so many times young quarterbacks, we saw Brian Griese earlier, little panic in his on one interception, made a bad decision. This time takes his time and, hey, 2nd down, throw it away.
You know, let's go back to the article that Armin was talking about earlier. Perhaps players thinking that he's a little bit smug and standoffish in the locker room. This time running room for Derek Lavelle inside the 35. and a first down. And we'll go back to that again right after this.
Brian Griese, it's unique. Most young quarterbacks in the NFL, they get to come in and play because they're on bad football teams. He's coming onto a veteran team that's had great success. It's tough socially to come in and fit right in with that group.
About a half minute to play down the sideline. Shannon Sharp incomplete. Roman Pfeiffer was with Shannon Sharp step for step down the sideline.
There we see Shannon Sharp going down the side. Roman Pfeiffer, one thing he does well, he runs in really good position. Turns and looks for the ball. Good coverage. Shannon Sharp, I could actually hear him saying on the field, he didn't turn and look for the ball. But he is there.
I guess you know you're there when the ball hits you in the back of the head.
And I know they're in Denver because they're booing it.
2nd and 10. Griese going to come this way for Rod Smith. Caught, touchdown! The call has not yet been made. I thought Rod Smith was in the end zone, and it is a touchdown. 33 yards.
Well, if there was any doubt, now we know for sure the Denver Broncos, they are going to pick on number 45, Otis Smith. And look at Otis Smith, never turns and looks for the football. Rod Smith goes up, watch this, both hands. Gets him, cradles the football. Nice play.
Takes the ball inside that pylon for the touchdown. Smith, 4 receptions for 123 yards and a touchdown.
Second quarter.
And the Jets are now going to challenge, or no. Tell us, Bob.
After reviewing the play, the second foot does not come down. The man's knee lands out of bounds. No catch.
No catch. So if it's 3rd down, and with 23 seconds still on the clock, Elam gets this kick away, and it is good. Smith on the sideline. Broncos just kicked the field goal on 3rd down, and probably because they were out of timeouts. Take a look at the left foot of Rod Smith. If that didn't hit the ground, perhaps it hit the back of his other cleat. In any event, Bob McElwee ruled that he didn't get 2 feet down, and the field goal has the Broncos on top 13-7. 18 seconds remaining here in the first half. Elam with the bouncer. With the 25 is Kevin Williams, and Kevin Williams breaks out close to the 40. 12 seconds remaining here in the first half.
You know, Greg, as you looked at that replay of the pass to Rod Smith, the one thing is Bob McElwee, when he's watching a replay, the push doesn't matter. It's got to be called on the field as the play happens. That's the reason why. So when he went over and looked at the review of the play, he's not able, he only has to look for both feet, have to get in bounds, nothing to do with the push. So that's why he ruled incomplete pass.
Rick Meyer throws for Johnson. So Meyer and the Jets now with the ball at the 44-yard line and 7 seconds to play here in the first half. Meyer with the screen. Bernie Parmalee to the 40, the 35, and time will run out as he is decked. We're set to kick it off in the second half. Jason Elam will kick to the Jets. Aaron Glenn and Kevin Williams are deep. For a couple of winless teams, Phil, it's been a heck of a first half.
Well, I think it's what we expected to see, Greg. We expected to see desperate. It's a desperate situation, and teams and players had to play like that.
Elam to Aaron Glenn. 15. Can't dip outside and get back to the 20-yard line. Eric Brown is there for the tackle for the Broncos. Look at the statistics from the first half. A lot of offense in the first half. 184 total yards for the Jets, 227 for the Broncos.
Well, the one thing I've noticed, I think the Broncos have had many more opportunities to move the ball to score points than the New York Jets. If they capitalize on the opportunities presented to them, then they have a chance to win the game.
If you are just tuning in, the Broncos lost Terrell Davis to a knee injury that is being termed a sprained knee right now and has not returned. Meyer going to throw. Complete to Curtis Martin out of the backfield to the 25 and close to a first down. Let's check in with Armin Katayan. Armin.
Thanks, Greg. I just want to say, if I remembered what Coach Shanahan told me going off the field, that was an ACL injury to Terrell Davis. Actually, now talking about Bill Parcells, I spoke with him coming out of the locker room. He says it's big plays. Too many big plays by our special teams, too many big plays by our defensive backs. We're lucky to be in this thing. Back to you.
All right, Armin.
He's right. Turnovers. The Broncos get a touchdown taken away. They kick the field goal. Brian Griese throws an interception in the end zone.
Straight ahead for 2 and enough for a first down. And Eric Brown up for the tackle.
We'll see what the Jets did in the first half with their possessions. Very nice. First one, it all went well. Then interception, missed field goal. Good opportunities they miss, especially after the interception down in their territory.
Jets had 76 yards on that opening drive and just 56 yards total since then. On the ground, Curtis Martin running room up the middle and out to close to the 35-yard line. Bill Romanowski there for the hit.
Greg, we talked about it. Most teams are just lining up and really trying to overpower Denver's defense. Here comes Eric Green. A little counter play, slow development. He leads it up in there, and Curtis Martin lets the defense over pursue up front, cuts back, gets a good gain.
2nd and 3 now. Most of Curtis's yardage coming up the middle today. He's going to go back up the middle.
See, that's what happens. That play right there really illustrates the New York Jets. If they just line up and try to run the football right at you, that's what you see. A big mess, a big pile in the middle. And if Curtis Martin can really make it happen, here he comes over the right guard and tackle. Lead block. Falls forward. Gets 2 to 3 yards. And that's all they can expect. That's why we see draw plays, counters, misdirection. The Jets have to fool you to get running opportunities.
That was enough for a first down, so the Jets with a first down now at their own 38. And now timeout is called and the clock is stopped with 12:18 to play here in the third quarter. Mile High State saw Bill Parcells not at all pleased with the officials and the way the play clock was handled on that last series.
He said they waited too long to get the first down signal, so he didn't know whether he was going to have 3rd and short or 1st and 10. It took him a while to get the play in. They had to take a timeout. Didn't have enough time.
Play clock now down to 5 as Meyer calls the signals. Curtis Martin, 40, 45, and that's a pickup of about 8 on the play, maybe 9. So the Jets beginning to run the ball effectively here in the second half.
And Greg, it's the same play every single time. They're going to put the guy in motion. This time Eric Green stays in one side. Curtis Martin starts his right, comes back to his left. Nice job. Look at Eric Green. We said earlier, Bill Parcells says this guy is a devastating blocker.
Important later in the game. Straight ahead, first down, Martin as he busts over midfield and into Bronco territory. Eric Brown coming up to make the tackle. Boy, what a week Eric Brown had last week against Tampa Bay. 20 tackles in all.
Well, we said it last week many times. It's good. He's a physical defensive back. He's supposed to make a lot of tackles and get in there and do it. But anytime, even if your safety's involved in a run game, to make 20 tackles means the people up front are not getting it done.
Means you're going to sleep well that night. Curtis Martin tripped up in the backfield. Number 91, Alfred Williams. And a loss of 4 on the play.
Well, it was basically another counter play, just using different people. This time, Richie Anderson, number 20, is going to lead it. Gets around, and just a good job by Alfred Williams, knifing through, getting up the field, making Curtis Martin go a little farther back than he wants. Tackles him for the loss.
So Meyer now looks at a 2nd and 14. Pretty even. 17 rushes, 16 passes. And on the draw, Martin. Not much there at all.
Now, the one thing this Denver defense, we've seen it the last 2 weeks, Greg, in the second half, it is worn down. The other teams they played, Kansas City and Tampa Bay, drive killer. A holding penalty almost always stops a scoring drive, and this really, of course, lessens your chances.
3rd and 14. Meyer down the middle, tipped incomplete. Intended for Quinn early, and Meyer gets up off the deck with turf in his helmet.
Denver starting to put pressure on Rick Meyer. Anytime you have 3rd and 15, it's going to be hard to fool the defense. And Alfred Williams, again, number 91, comes through, just powers his way in there and gets to Rick Meyer.
Bill Romanowski gets a hand on it to break it up, and now Tupa will kick it. Watson brings it in inside of the 5-yard line, and what a hit laid on him down there by Chris Hayes. Rookies sometimes learn lessons in very difficult ways. 9:27 to play in the 3rd.
Let's go.
Just under 9.5 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter, and Brian Griese and the Broncos start deep in their own territory from their own 4-yard line. And the Jets need a defensive stand here. On the ground, Derek Lavelle over the 5, pickup of about 2 on the play. Anthony Pleasant. You want to hear a rookie mistake? This is Chris Watson on the receiving end of the punt. And as you mentioned on the hit by Chris Hayes, that's a big play. Big
Well,
mistake.
it is. It's a mistake by Chris Watson. The chances are when that ball lands inside the 10, there's like a rule in the NFL. Return to punt, stand on a 10-yard line, you take 1 step back, let it go. He was inside the 5-yard line.
On 2nd down, they'll run it to the right side this time, and there is running room there. Marvin Jones and Victor Green make the tackle.
I've noticed the New York Jets on defense. Ray Mickens is in for Otis Smith, so Otis Smith sitting out a few weeks. Got picked on in the first half. Give Ray Mickens a step forward for your offense.
Sharp and Carswell are the tight ends. Griese going to keep it and dives forward for the 1st down.
And we see more and more quarterback sneaks now in 3rd and really short situations because, and we've said this a lot of times too, Greg, defenses have gotten so good at getting in there and ganging up and penetrating against that offensive line that it's hard to hand the ball to an offensive back and let him run a couple yards to get back to the line of scrimmage.
So the Broncos now from their own 15-yard line and a little bit more room to breathe. Griese, play action. Throws. It is in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Derek Lavelle. It's incomplete. You know, you look at that quarterback sneak and you figure, well, if there's ever a chance for a defensive lineman to get caught up on the licks that he'd like to apply to a quarterback, I mean, it can't be a quarterback's favorite call, can it?
I hated it. You know, I really did. I just hated it. And then I'll tell you this, though. You're going to, when Dan Reeves, I played 1 year for Dan Reeves. He had about 40 different ways to run a quarterback sneak. And it was formations, audible to it, all these things. And it was really spectacular. It made it a lot easier once I learned something about it.
Griese throws far side, complete to McCaffrey. And McCaffrey, a pickup of about 5 on the play. On that last snap, you saw Brian Griese's fingers taped on his left hand, suffered a sprain. And it doesn't appear to have affected him so far receiving the snap today.
It's on his left hand, and you know what they say? Hey, well, it's not the hand you throw with, so let's just wrap it up and let's go on. It doesn't affect the way he plays, hasn't affected the way he throws the football either.
So Griese looks at a 3rd and 5. The Broncos with the ball and a 13-7 lead. Time down the field, intended for Smith, incomplete, and a flag flies. Ray Mickens, called a week ago, gets some playing time here and gets nailed for 1 now.
Well, the difference, that was the exact same play that Otis Smith gave up for that long game. This time, Ray Mickens He couldn't cover it, but he reached out and grabbed the wide receiver to stop the long gain.
The toss to Lavelle. Lavelle, not much there, maybe 2 yards on the play. Brian Cox comes up to make the tackle. You know, I made reference to this earlier. Excuse me, Phil. Boy, we were talking with Brian Cox yesterday. Was he fired up for this game?
Well, I think he was just fired up, but Greggy was just telling the truth. And he was going, of course, they didn't expect this season to go the way it is, 0-3. But what he really said and what caught my attention, he goes, I don't know if we have enough guys that are tough enough to come out here and fight through it to give us a chance to win this game and games of the future.
What he said was we have too many guys bringing a baseball bat to a gunfight. Greasy on the roll, batted down. And a penalty marker is down in the backfield. Mo Lewis, that's the second time.
When things go wrong, it's easy to be one of the guys that wants to get it done when you're winning. But when you're losing, can you strap it on and can you dig deep enough mentally to get it done?
Greasy spins. Lavelle on the screen. And Lavelle brought down at the 35 after a pickup of about 3. Pleasant and Jason Wiltz making the stop.
Fake the screen one way. Watch Brian Greasy. Good job. Fake it left. Turn right. Jets in good position. Make the tackle.
And there is a Jet down on the field. That is Chad Cascadden. And you look at Chad Cascadden on the sideline. Meanwhile, Greasy steps up over the middle. Wide open is Byron Chamberlain. And Chamberlain knocked out of bounds just shy of midfield. 13-yard pickup. It still leaves the Broncos short of a first down.
Well, when you have third long, usually a defense is going to be very conservative. They're going to make you throw it short and see if you can make a good run to get the first down. And Byron Chamberlain does a pretty good job. Has the speed to dodge tacklers. And you can see by looking at him, he's pretty big too.
6'1", 242 in his 5th year out of Wayne State. Tom Ruin will kick to Dedrick Ward. This is a returnable punt. Ward to the 6. 20. Back at Mile High Stadium in Denver. Greg Gumbel, Phil Simms, Armin Katayan. 5:21 to play here in the third. The Broncos with a 13-7 lead. Rick Meyer back to work on offense. Keyshawn Johnson across the 25 to the 27. And now a late flag back behind the play. And Bill Romanowski was the man back there. And the personal foul
The passer, 53 defense.
is on Romanowski.
15 yards.
Well, let's see what happens. Number 53, Bill Romanowski on the blitz. Rick Meyer sees it. Got to get rid of the football.
And the extra shove.
Here he comes in. The ball's gone. You got to pull up once you see the quarterback. Get rid of the football.
Well, it's not that Bill Romanowski has been shy. In fact, he's the last guy that you'd want to ask for a loan these days because the NFL has been tapping into him pretty good in the last couple of weeks.
Or a run.
Now, he makes a point, and he likes to try to get to the quarterback. He believes that when you get in there, you hit the quarterback, you can rattle him and get him thinking. And you're absolutely right. You can. You hit the quarterback enough, it will impair his judgment to throw the football, but you got to be careful.
First down, Jets at the 43, and Meyer to throw. Over the middle has his man, Keyshawn Johnson, out to midfield. Romanowski on the tackle. Let's take you back on Bill Romanowski's recent history. 2 weeks ago in Kansas City, he got a $5,000 fine. Watch the head slap on Tony Gonzalez. Right there. NFL hit him with $5,000 there, and then last week against Tampa, for that hit on Trent Dilfer leading with his helmet. $5,000 against the Chiefs, $10,000 the Bucks. A couple years ago, 27-5 total. Meyer, far side, wide open, is Dedrick Ward. And Ward to the 40-yard line. And a first down.
You know, I'll tell you what that penalty does. You see the Jets are kind of struggling, trying to figure out what they're going to do to get their offense moving. You make a little play, you throw the short pass, you get 15 more yards. Man, all of a sudden, it gives you good emotion. It makes your team feel good. And you can see what the Jets have done. Now everybody feels positive about what they're trying to do because of a penalty.
Suddenly they're at the Denver 40-yard line. Keyshawn Johnson in motion. The pitch to Curtis Martin. Martin, right side, penalty marker flies. He's out of bounds at about the 35. Bill Parcells, who we mentioned earlier, took us by surprise when he said he called all the plays last week. Said he called all of them in the second half of the loss to Buffalo the week before. Meyer looks at first and 20. Screen. Martin, room to run. And across the 40 down to about the 38. Eric Brown with the tackle after a 12-yard pickup. Thank you. Thunderbolts and a little uprising in San Diego. Jets need to reach the Denver 30 for a first down. Martin to the 35. Curtis Martin has been called on as usual to carry the rushing load, and he's done that so far today.
He's done it. A lot of counter plays. We've been talking about it. And then the draw play, the two things he runs very well. Another counter play. Good blocking by Eric Green. And I will say this, the Jets have been more patient with the running game today than I've seen all year long.
On 3rd and 5. Meyer, in the face of a blitz, gets rid of it, out of bounds, and it is. Is it ruled complete or incomplete? And it is complete, and that is ruled a push out of bounds.
Well, what they did, good job by the officials. They can converge, make sure one, did he catch it? Yes. The second one says he was pushed out. They give him the completion. Watch Keyshawn Johnson, or Dedrick Ward, I'm sorry. Good job by Rick Meyer in a blitz. Al Wilson unblocked, gets the throw away, and the hit drives him out of bounds.
Before he could get that other foot down, and now we have a stop. Jets with a first down. And going to keep it on the ground, Curtis Martin. Across the 25 to about the 24, Neil Smith in on the stop.
See coach looking at that play sheet, Bill Parcells. And you, number 7. I can read his lips. 20 rushes, 22 pass. He's true to his word so far. He said he was going to make it balanced as the game went along. Rick Meyer has a list of the plays on his wrist. 1 through about 120. He looks down at number 7, calls the play.
Martin shakes a tackler in the backfield across the 20 down to about the 18 and close to a first down. You can be sure that was number 7 because Rick Meyer, we asked him yesterday, he said no, he won't be audibling at all today.
No audibles.
And we're going to get a measurement here.
And Rick Meyer,
3rd and 1.
We had a chance to look at that sheet that he puts on his wrist. I would need binoculars to read that list. It is so small to print.
That's how far the Jets need for first down. He's going to throw for it. Under the pressure, escapes 2, 3, looking downfield and throws for the end zone, incomplete. And a penalty marker in the end zone. Dale Carter on Keyshawn Johnson.
Yeah, I think it could be on Keyshawn.
Looked like one official there, the back judge, said offense pushed off.
I'm not going to try to lip read anymore. I'll give up. I've done my share today already.
Well, we have had enough opportunities.
Boy, that was a good job. The Jets trying to surprise the Broncos with a play-action pass on 3rd and short, but the Broncos with an all-out blitz. Rick Meyer really does an outstanding job just avoiding the sack.
The back judge is Jim Howie and the field judge Bill Lovett, and they are clearly the ones with the difference of opinion.
There's no foul on the play. The ball is untouchable.
Here we go. Let's look at it. Keyshawn Johnson against Dale Carter. Back in the end zone. He sees the quarterback scramble. Here it comes.
Well, Keyshawn wanted the interference. The ultimate ruling that the ball is uncatchable. That's when Keyshawn thought he was going to get the flag. And now on 4th and 1, the Jets will go for it.
Bob McElwee, the referee, is over at the sideline.
And the Jets with 4th and 1. And here comes the crowd.
You can see the crowd stomping the grounds, making the camera shake.
Martin.
No way.
Harold Hasselbeck met him almost immediately after the handoff.
That's why in those situations, Greg, we talked about it earlier. Watch the defensive line, look at the penetration. Getting the running back way in the backfield. Too hard to hand that ball off in those situations and gain positive yards. Swims and goes right around him. Meets the running back, Curtis Martin, in the backfield. Quickness by Harold Hasselbeck stops the 4th down run.
On 1st down, Derek Lavelle comes this side, tripped up in the backfield by number 58, James Ferrier. And with that, the 3rd quarter winds down. Our score, the Broncos 13-7 as we change ends for perhaps the last time today. Things have been quiet here in the second half after a really up and down the field action in the first half. First down at the 20-yard line and Greasy to throw. This side has his man open. It's complete. Shannon Sharp out of bounds across the 40 and out at about the 43-yard line. That's a 22-yard pickup.
Well, that was a good job by Shannon Sharp. What he did, play action fake by Brian Greasy, but Shannon Sharp just took off up the field. Look to the left of your screen. He went right up the field, ran right at Victor Green, just right at him the whole time. And then at the last second, he broke out. Victor Green couldn't react quick enough.
Make the line of scrimmage the Denver 44. And on the ground now with Derek Lavelle.
Hey, Greg, you were talking about the first half, so much action. The second half, a lot different. And I've noticed both teams on both sides of the ball have really settled down, taken no chances, really being very basic in what they're doing on offense and defense. And of course, that's leading to what we see.
Turnovers a big part of the first half. Brian Greasy threw 2. Rick Meyer threw 1. And you can see how the yards have diminished here in the second half. Greasy rolls, and throws it away. Almost had it intercepted by Victor Green, one of his favorite receivers today. Let's check in with Armin Katayan. Armin.
Thanks, Greg. Just a quick medical update on both teams. First of all, with Chad Cascadden, he's in the locker room right now for x-rays. He is out with a knee injury. Otis Smith also out with a shoulder injury. The latest on Terrell Davis is he will have an MRI this evening to determine the extent of his ACL injury. Back to you.
All right, Armin. And once again, remember, Otis Smith suffered a broken collarbone in preseason, early August, and today was his first action of the NFL season. 4 wide receivers on 3rd and 7 for the Broncos. Here comes the blitz. He eludes Williams and Greasy with room to run. Midfield, and falls short of the first down. Number 24, Ray Mickens, up for the stop.
NFL players, NFL defensive players have gotten so much better in the past few years. Kevin Williams, Brian Greasy avoids him, but I was looking down the field that time. Greasy looks down. All the receivers saw him scrambling. They stopped and changed directions, and those defensive backs were right with them.
So Dedrick Ward back on his own 10. Ruined the punt. over in. And Ward will let it bounce, and it will roll into the end zone for the touchback. 49-yard punt, and Brian Breezy, eyes wide as he looks for his first victory as a starting quarterback for the Denver Broncos. Finds Week 4 leaders feature and see today's leaders in passing, rushing, receiving, and kicking in real time. It's live now. Just click on NFL at cbs.sportsline.com. First down for the Jets at their own 20-yard line. Meyer fakes the handoff up the middle. Keyshawn Johnson first down across the 40 to about the 43-yard line.
Couple things. That time they kept Garrett Green in the backfield to help the protection because Rick Meyer's been under pressure. But Keyshawn Johnson, he's one of the few receivers, I think, in the league that can go down. Watch this. Look at all the people around him because of his size and the fact that he has no fear when he's in the middle of the field. Goes up, protects himself, catches the ball against his body, and gets a big first down for the New York Jets.
With room to operate now at their own 43. Meyer to throw it again. Throws this side, incomplete, intended for the tight end, Eric Green. Bill Romanowski was there along with Glenn Cadrez. You know, we were talking during the last time out, Phil. What do you see in Rick Meyer today that may give the Jets some hope for the rest of this season?
Well, it's more than about the quarterback now. Now that I've got a chance to watch it in person, I think he's been so much better today than the quarterback I saw in film. And I mean, it's more dynamic, more sure. When he sees people open, he's firing the football, not taking chances. And when he hadn't had opportunities, he's been able to move around and create a few for himself.
2nd and 10. He's going to go deep down the sideline, and that's incomplete. Overthrowing Dedrick Ward. First offensive play of this game, Meyer connected with Dedrick Ward down that very same sideline for 69 yards. I believe Bill Parcells just called play number 104.
Man, that's a lot of plays. You know, 120 on that play sheet. And it wasn't that long ago. I remember when I played, we'd have like 60, 70 plays in a game. And nowadays, because of the complexities, you need lots of different ways to get it done.
3rd and 10. And here comes the blitz. Meyer has to get it away. Keyshawn Johnson had it and dropped it. And now a late penalty flag flies in from the near side. Dale Carter is the defender.
Greg, you said it right. All-out blitz by the Denver Broncos.
Pass interference, 40 defense, first down.
And Rick Meyer buys himself a little time, but look at the blitz. Everybody up at the line of scrimmage coming. The Jets can't pick them all up. Rick Meyer just makes the throw. Watch Dale Carter against Keyshawn Johnson.
Well, the only question is there is why the lateness of the flag?
Well, because he was 30 yards away and he had to get that thing to rip it out of his pocket and fire it. But that's a pretty tough call against Dale Carter. He had good position. If he'd have kept driving towards the football, he might have had a chance to intercept it. I don't think he would have been called for the penalty.
First down, Jets in Denver territory. 12 and a half minutes to play. Quick pass, Johnson to the 40. Pick up of 9 on the play.
I'm sorry, Greg. We talked to Keyshawn Johnson last night, and he was looking forward to this matchup. One, he knew he was going to catch a lot of balls today. But two, he wanted to play against Dale Carter. He knew what kind of player Dale Carter was. He says, I don't think he's as good now as he was years ago when he was with the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm going to take advantage of him. Hasn't quite done that today, but got a big holding penalty.
8 catches for 99 yards and a touchdown. Flea flicker. Rick Meyer going for Keyshawn Johnson deep, incomplete, and another penalty marker. Dale Carter and Tyrone Braxton were there.
The Broncos were in position. You got to look for the football.
Defensive pass interference, number 40, first down.
That's the second one on Dale Carter.
Watch as he goes down the field. Keyshawn Johnson. Dale Carter not fooled. Going with him. You're going to see Tyrone Braxton. Here he comes.
Dale Carter had a good grip on Keyshawn Johnson's back.
When you grab hold of the jersey, the one thing the officials that really sticks out, you can see, you got to remember, they're down on field level with those players. They can see that jersey being pulled.
For the 4th time today, the Jets get a first down by virtue of a Denver penalty. 1st and goal. Curtis Martin wrapped up at about the 9-yard line by the rookie middle linebacker, Al Wilson.
Well, Al Wilson, number 56, energy, emotional, linebacker. Taking over for John Mobley. There he comes, 56. Good job of fighting his way through and making a tough tackle.
Al Wilson coming out of Tennessee, the number 31 pick overall, the Broncos' first-round choice. Meyer being chased and throws it away and dragged down by Neil Smith, number 90. And there is a flag down on the play. This is against the Broncos.
Greg, I was going to say, I don't think the Jets...
Holding number 53 defense. Half the distance to the goal line.
That's linebacker Bill Romanowski.
I was going to say, I don't think the Jets can line up and power the football into the end zone from the 5-yard line. But on that last play, Rick Meyer, nowhere to throw it.
Ow.
Oh, it didn't hurt. Fell on the top of him. Bill Romanowski, number 53, locked up with Blake Spence. Again, you see the right hand on the jersey pulling.
1st and goal. Curtis Martin, touchdown. The boos rained down from the Bronco fans who disagreed with the penalty calls.
Good job this time by the New York Jets. Look at that surge. That time they got going forward, made the defensive lineman for the Broncos go backwards. Curtis Martin goes into the end zone.
Big extra point now by John Hall. Tupa gets it down. The kick is perfect. 10:52 to play here in regulation. Curtis Martin from 2 yards out gets the touchdown to pull the Jets even. The extra point gives New York a 14-13. Today's aerial views of Mile High Stadium provided by Southwest Airlines. Welcome back to Denver, everyone. Jets have just grabbed a 14-13 lead. Chris Watson is deep. John Hall gets a lot of foot into this one. This will not be run out, and the Broncos will take over 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. And now Bill Parcells says, now we got to concentrate on defense. Greasy, 1st down, his own 20-yard line. Fakes the handoff. Under the gun, coming from behind, that's a loose football. Jets go for it, Broncos go for it. And it's the Jets' ball. Mo Lewis comes away with the football, and Ray Mickens was there to help with the forced fumble.
The Jets guy with the backside blitz, what they do, 1st down, when you think the other team is going to run a play-action pass, you bring the corner from the backside, and Brian Greasy takes too long, waits. Ray Mickens comes all the way across the field, chases him to the right side of as he sprints out and makes the play.
And what a terrific opportunity the defense has given the Jet offense. 1st and goal from the 4-yard line. Weren't we just here? Curtis Martin. Glenn Cadrez was the first to hit him.
Let's take a look at what caused the fumble, Greg. Ray Mickens, 1st down. They're near that side. Here he is. Watch how far he has to come to make the play. Gets pushed outside. Looks like Brian Greasy is going to get rid of it. He scrambles. Ray Mickens keeps hustling, causes the fumble. He ran about, I'd say about a good 50 yards to make that play.
What did Bill Parcells tell us yesterday? He said our defense isn't making enough big plays. Keyshawn Johnson in motion. Give us to Martin. And Martin is hit by Romanowski.
Well, again, we've seen it all day, said it many times. The Jets just line up and run straight at this Denver Broncos defense. They are not making much in the running game. Bill Romanowski, just speed makes that play. Anticipated the snap, got off quick, makes the tackle in the backfield.
And now the Jets call a timeout. 9:31 to play here in the fourth quarter, and you've got to figure if Bill Parcells says this is too important decision right here to rush things.
Well, he knows he has a chance to put the game away, so you call timeout, make the right call.
We want to remind you next Saturday it's another shootout in the SEC. Doug Johnson leads Steve Spurrier's Florida Gators into Death Valley to tangle with Rondell Mealy and the Bayou Bengals, and it all starts with Tim Brando and Spencer Tillman on Volkswagen's College Football Today.
Look at Brian Griese. The one thing you learn in this National Football League that you can't learn in college, when you move as a quarterback, the backside pressure, even if you're running forward, the players are so fast, they run you down from behind and they knock the ball out of your hands.
Eric Green, Keyshawn Johnson onto the field for the Jets. You see Griese's numbers.
I look for the Jets to try to create confusion with some motion or the formation. The fact that when they run Rick Meyer out of the pocket, they haven't had much success doing that.
3rd and goal. Meyer throws, popped up in the air, intercepted. Bill Romanowski pulls it down. Did we say this was a turning point in the old ball game? The Broncos thwart the Jets and take over.
The Jets go with the empty backfield. They send Curtis Martin in motion. He goes outside, then he cuts back underneath trying to fool the defense, but the defense is not full. They stand and wait. Look at this. 2 people in position to stop the pass play. Bill Romanowski's inside.
Fouls on the play. Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 53 of the intercepting team. Unsportsmanlike conduct, 51 of the passing team.
Bill Romanowski and Brian Cox took turns throwing the football at each other after the play was dead, offsetting penalties. Leave the ball right where it is.
You know, this is where you can't condone what these players do. They're emotional. They play hard. They're really good football players. They're leaders on their team. But you got to know the situation. You can't let your emotions get away from you here because it can decide the football game.
1st down from the 2. And straight ahead for maybe 2 is Derek Lavelle. Jason Wiltz with the stop. If you joined us late, Terrell Davis left the game with a knee injury in the first half. And Armin Katayan told us earlier that an MRI is pending to determine the extent of that injury. Griese out of his end zone. Going to come deep from McCaffrey. Intercepted by Aaron Glenn. Glenn back to the 30.
What a block by Brian Cox.
And down here on the sideline.
Oh, he caught somebody not looking. I'm not sure who's down on the field.
Let's take this opportunity to remind those of you expecting to see 60 Minutes, you are watching the NFL on CBS and the game between the New York Jets and Denver Broncos. I'm Greg Gumbel along with Phil Simms and Armin Katayan. The Jets lead the Broncos 14-13. 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast.
Ed McCaffrey trying to catch the Jets defense by surprise. Aaron Glenn in perfect position all the way, makes the interception, gets up. That is really a good job by Aaron Glenn, watching the ball, feeling where the wide receiver is, making the play.
And it is Shannon Sharp down on the ground, and he is just now on his feet.
Well, there comes Brian Cox. That's what you got to be careful for. When you intercept that ball, if you're somebody chasing, those defenders are peeling back, looking for those type of hits. And Shannon Sharp looks like he's okay.
Greasy has thrown his 3rd interception of the day. And the Jets with the ball at the Denver 30. Curtis Martin for about 3, maybe 4.
Now you look at that last play. They gave him what Greg would be called a safe play. They say, let's go a play action pass. Let's throw it deep, because you think not a lot can go wrong on a deep throw when you're on offense. Incomplete, maybe there's pass interference, but really they're very, very seldom are they intercepted. But Aaron Glenn was in such good position. Brian Greasy didn't make the proper read, should have never thrown it.
Second and 7. Martin again across the 25 to the 24. You know what stands out to me, Phil, is as you and I discussed this game, and along with our crew, you know, we all had differences of opinion as to how this game might go today. One thing that we were all in agreement was it was going to be pretty doggone physical.
Well, it's going to be physical, but I think what we're seeing now, Greg, I said it earlier, we're seeing why these teams are 0-3, and now understand why they pulled the reins in the 3rd quarter. Because when both teams let it go, too many bad plays happen. Turnovers, positions where the players just can't overcome it.
Play clock is now down to 8 as the Jets break the huddle, and they're going to have to hurry to get this play off. 3, 2, 1, and he does get it off. The give is to Martin. Right side, diving for first down yardage, and he's pretty close.
Wow, such a big play in the game, that situation, and to put that type of pressure on your offense. And if I'd have been quarterback, and I would have called a timeout immediately.
The Jets have 1 timeout remaining. Broncos have all 3 of theirs.
But they do catch the Broncos by surprise. They're expecting pass. Curtis Martin, good job of being physical, running hard, and falling forward.
Pretty crucial measurement here with 7:08 to play. It's a first down.
Well, again, you're calling the plays. Now, Rick Meyer made a bad decision down on the goal line. Do you put the football back in his hands?
You know, there's another thing we agreed on about the outcome of this game. The loser is going to see some pretty rough things in the newspaper the next morning.
About the same things they've been seeing for the past couple weeks.
From the 20. Martin. And Martin to the 17, maybe the 16-yard line, and the clock continues to move.
The one thing we have seen today, every time Eric Green, the big tight end, is in the backfield, it is a running play for the New York Jets, and he has blocked very well from that fullback position, giving Curtis Martin a chance.
Curtis Martin, 35 yards in the first half. Here in the second half, he's carried 18 times for 53 yards. Looks to this side, wide open, is Dedrick Ward diving for the end zone. Touchdown!
That was a well-designed play by the New York Jets. They took Keyshawn Johnson. They ran him deep. They cleared it out. Dedrick Ward makes the catch on the outside and scores before the defense can react back to make the tackle.
Boy, Keyshawn Johnson just trotting off the field, waving his fist in the air. John Hall for the extra point. And it's perfect. Dedrick Ward, the touchdown maker on the sidelines, extending the Jets lead to 21-13, 5:57 to be played here in the 4th quarter. Chris Watson deep to receive the kick for the Broncos. From the 1. 15. 25. And out to about the 27-yard line. We remind you once again, coming up next, 60 Minutes. See what happened to 2 cops who had the guts to break the unwritten code known as the Blue Wall of Silence. Don't miss 60 Minutes tonight here on CBS, America's most watched network. It follows us immediately, except on the West Coast.
Well,
So
Brian, I'm sorry, Greg. I was going to say that's Brian Greasy got his first taste of getting booted home as he went out on the field.
And Greasy throws. That's been batted down at the line of scrimmage, intended for Shannon Sharp. Let's go back to the touchdown. Meyer to Dedrick Ward.
Well, let's look what happens. Dedrick Ward's going to be on the outside. Here he is. Watch Keyshawn Johnson as he goes down the field, and Ray Crockett has him going. Gets too far inside. Now look at that. Nobody in position to stop Dedrick Ward once he catches the ball.
2nd and 10. And Brian Greasy and the offense going to have to open it up. Brian Cox on the rush. The pass falls incomplete.
Well, I was wondering, would the Jets try to pressure Brian Greasy in this situation to give him a chance to maybe make a big play in the passing game? But here they come again. Brian Cox, Dwayne Gordon inside. They don't get there, but Brian Greasy can fill them all around him. Knows he has to get rid of the football.
You know, Brian Cox, another of the things that he told us is, you know, we need to keep playing hard because they're not going to cancel the rest of the schedule. 3rd and 10.
That was one of the few things he told you can repeat on the air.
Greasy now on the run. And it comes down shy of first down yardage. Mo Lewis makes the stop.
5:28, 3 timeouts.
Mike Shanahan's going to go for it.
You think he's still waiting to see? This is 5:28 with 3 timeouts. You could punt it.
Denver burns a timeout here on 4th and 1. So Mike Shanahan can take time to talk about how to approach this 4th and 1. This has been nothing but turnovers here today.
Well, the New York Jets trying to confuse Brian Greasy, playing some different coverages, coming with some blitzes they probably weren't ready for, and then a bad decision throwing the ball down the field. Again, when you're playing a young quarterback, you better get them while they're young, because they're hard to get when they get a little older and they've seen all this stuff, and they take advantage of your defense when it gets too aggressive.
Going back to what Bill Parcells said, he said, you know, we come in here with just 1 turnover in our first 3 games. You aren't going to win many football games like that. Look at what Victor Green has done for him today, and the pressure on the quarterback. I'd say he's going to be pleased with his defensive performance.
And he said not getting turnovers for 2 reasons. 1, we're not in the right positions to give ourselves a chance, and we're just not hitting hard enough. Hard hits cause turnovers. 4th and 1.
Greasy gives to LaBelle, and that comes up short of the first down, and the ball is going to go over to the Jets. Steve Atwater came up and was one of the Jets to make the hit. Cox says they're short. Atwater says they're short.
Boy, Steve Atwater, talking to him yesterday, I know he was hoping he could really have a big impact on this game. It looks like it's short.
Officials trying to get everybody out of the way so everyone can see. And it is short. Jets ball. Steve Atwater joyously off the field.
Well, Steve Atwater, number 27, came up 8 tackles today. That's a good solid day from the safety position. Number 27. Can't see him yet. There he comes through the hole. Hey, boy, and uses that big. He's a big safety. 27. What a good job. He doesn't over pursue. Watch this. He waits, and then when they cut back, Derek LaBelle cuts back, he's sitting there waiting. Well, that is really a good case and a good picture of why you don't want to overcommit and go running towards the football. Sometimes you wait, they come back to you.
4:49 to play. And Meyer going to throw. Now he's run and slide to the turf. Be a loss of about 3 on the play. You know, when you mentioned we were talking to Steve, all he wanted to do was come in here and, you know, he realizes he had some terrific days here, but all he wanted to do was come in and help the Jets gain a victory, say hello to some old friends, and do his job.
Well, that's what he told us. I mean, of course, this is big. A player that had such a wonderful career here with the Denver Broncos, and in about mid-season last year, he knew it was over. He knew that was going to be his last year, so it has to be tough for him to come in here knowing all the good years he gave to him, and they basically let him go. 2nd and 12, the pitch to Martin comes this way and dives across the 35-yard line. Pickup of about 3, and the Broncos call timeout to stop the clock. 4:12 remaining to be played. Jets lead at 21-13, and going back to the first quarter, a Jason Elam 26-yard field goal put the Broncos up by a 3-0 count. Keyshawn Johnson on a 26-yard touchdown catch made it 7-3 Jets, and then Terrell Davis, a 1-yard touchdown run, put the Broncos back on top. Another Elam field goal made it 13-7. But then the Jets on a 2-yard run by Curtis Martin made it 14-13, and then Dedrick Ward 16 yards for the touchdown, and the Jets lead at 21-13. They have the football with 4:12 to play here in the fourth. Now, as you watch this game, see Bubby Brister getting ready to warm up. Mike Shanahan knows he's probably got one more series to make something happen, so this is why he's got, well, this is one of the reasons why he made Bubby Brister the backup, because this guy can make some plays when nothing's there, moves around, has a big arm. Good timing, I think. You know, the proper call. Time to bring him in. The Denver Broncos are within a touchdown and a 2-point conversion if they can put the stop on the Jets offense here. 3rd and long. Meyer throws far side. That is incomplete. Intended for Richie Anderson. That was a good incompletion by Rick Meyer, because if he didn't try to complete that pass, it would have been picked off. So he just took it and threw it to the ground. So on 4th down. Now what do the New York Jets do? Tom Tupa, the punter, comes on. He's going to count on Tupa to nail the Broncos deep in their own territory. .408 on the clock. Chris Watson is deep. Tupa aims for the corner. Oh, and a great defensive play by Dwight Stone for the New York Jets, and now through the touchback. He put his foot on the end zone line. If you touch any of that white chalk on the end zone, that is a touchback. Let's watch what happens. Stepped right on it. Boy, good job. He's gauged. Watch the last little hop before he goes up. Right foot definitely on the line. Oh, that's a big play. What I meant to say, Phil, is it would have been a terrific defensive play by the Jets if he hadn't stepped on the line. I understand, Greg. I interpret things that you say, you know. So 3:59 on the clock, and the cheers are for Bubby Brister trotting onto the field. Well, this is the call to make, too. So many bad things have happened to Brian Griese in the last quarter. Mentally, you really almost have no chance of making the plays to bring your team from behind. Brister from the shotgun. Gonna run. 30. Slides down at about the 37-yard line. 17-yard gallop for Bubby Brister. That's probably the best thing that can happen for Bubby Brister is you run on that first play, because you drop back, even a veteran quarterback like him, and you look down the field for your first time of the day, you just see a lot of defensive players. So that gets rid of some of those nerves. Now you can settle down, take your time, and make some proper reads. Broncos have 3:25 on the clock and 1 timeout. Brister with time, throws, intercepted. Marcus
Coleman stepped in front of the receiver and picked it off. Fifth Bronco turnover of the day. The fourth interception by the Jets.
What a good job by Marcus Coleman. Bubby Brister this time buys the extra time. He moves a little to his left, and then he just tries to overpower the football. Look at that. You can see it got away from him just a little. But Marcus Coleman, number 42, stays in position the whole time and runs in front of the receiver.
As a word of advice for Kevin, he doesn't stop coaching, does he?
Well, something must have happened. Kevin Williams must not have been in position, so.
Pass intended for Andre Cooper, the first-year man out of Florida State, and the Jets regain possession in Denver territory. Curtis Martin on the ground. Clock continues to move, and we move you to Jim Nance in New York for an NFL Today report.
We've got a final, but what a suspenseful finish in San Francisco. Neil O'Donnell and the Titans down 8. Throws it to the end zone. Thigpen pulls it in, but on the toss sweep, Eddie George is stuffed on the tying 2, and the Niners win with Jeff Garcia at quarterback having a big day. Back to Craig and Phil.
All right, Jim. Boy, those Tennessee Titans are telling us each and every week they're not to be counted out of anything.
Wow, the New York Jets, they need a first down here if they think they're going to win this football game or have a better chance. The Broncos, they got the 2-minute warning. It can stop the clock, plus 1 timeout. They would have time to still drive down the field, score a touchdown, and go for the 2-point conversion.
Brian Greasy being consoled by Byron Chamberlain.
The Broncos are down. Sorry, Greg. They're out of timeouts. No timeouts left.
Curtis Martin spins. And close to the 40-yard line. Pickup of 3 on the play. Coming up tonight on 60 Minutes, see what happened to 2 cops who had the guts to break the unwritten code known as the Blue Wall of Silence. Don't miss 60 Minutes tonight. Then it's a powerful, all-new Touched by an Angel, followed by the CBS Sunday movie Forget Me Never, starring Mia Farrow and Martin Sheen. A courageous story about a woman who thought Alzheimer's only happened to older people. That's coming up tonight on CBS. Well, the play clock is down to 10, and Rick Myers having a conversation with Bob McElwee.
Well, the Jets are trying to decide whether they're going to run or pass on 3rd down.
And he calls timeout with a second remaining on the play clock.
And look at Curtis Martin, 31 rushes for 95 yards. That is being persistent with the running game. 3 yards a rush.
All right, 2:18 to play here in regulation. Assuming this stays this way, what's Mike Shanahan thinking now after 4 weeks of the season? Because his Broncos came out and looked pretty good in the first half.
They did. Listen, they had so many chances to win this game. I thought they were kind of dominating the pace of play. They were controlling the tempo. They were making big plays. They let it go. And then the penalties, let the Jets drive down the field, score, go ahead. And what's he thinking of? Well, he's not thinking about what he's going to tell his team yet. But I don't think they envisioned. When we met with them, Greg, I think you could feel the same thing. That they were desperate. They knew at home the conditions were there. A Jet team that's struggling, they needed to come out and win the game and play well.
The Broncos looked and sounded like a team ready to come out and play winning football here today.
And the Jets, I still found some reservations in their voices. They weren't sure how they were going to react still to getting over all the injuries.
Big play for the Bronco defense, 3rd and 6. Meyer pulls it down, scrambles, eats the football at about the 44-yard line. Glenn Cadrez brings him down.
Clock will start again. Sacking the quarterback, stops the clock until they reset it.
And this will take us to the 2-minute warning. There's a kick today that Tom Tupa does not want to shank. It's this one.
Well, you are a negative thinker.
Well, no, it's realistic.
No, he'll probably kick it end over end, so that really lessens the chance of having a shank.
Chris Watson is deep for the Broncos. Watson falls for a fair catch, let it bounce, and it won't reach the end zone. The Jets down it at the 2. Well, Bubby Brister and the Broncos have 98 yards to go and no timeouts, and they are without their big weapon. In the first half, Terrell Davis chasing the Jets' Victor Green. Injured his right knee, has not returned to action. They will have him undergo an MRI to determine the damage. Tall order facing Bubby Brister and the Broncos here.
Well, the Broncos, you know, they have made some 98-yard drives in their history that have been big.
The problem was there was a number 7 at quarterback.
Well, they had a little more time and timeouts, things like that. Bubby Brister, tough situation. You got to make that first play.
A lot of time, flips it out of the end zone, complete to Derek Lavelle, and he's out of bounds at the 11-yard line.
Hardest thing to do in these situations is to get that first play, to get some momentum and just get it out there, at least get the defensive people guessing and let the quarterback find out how the defense is going to play him.
2nd and 1. An incredible number of people have left their seats here at Mile High Stadium, and you'd have to say the Broncos are still well within shouting distance. 2nd and 1. Brister under the gun, throws it away complete, and that's to Derek Lavelle. He doesn't reach the sidelines, and the clock continues to move. 1.5 minutes to play.
Well, with no timeouts, needing the touchdown, you have to get the ball down the field, or if you could throw it to the sidelines, if you know the guy can get out of bounds.
First down. Shannon Sharp, middle of the field, down at the 24-yard line. That's a pickup of about 9 on the play. Clock continues to move. And now, referee Bob McElwee stops the clock and wants a measurement.
Well, that's good for the Broncos. It gives them a chance to regroup. Think of the play call that's going to give them a chance to get the ball down the field. Mike Shanahan almost has to tell Bubby Brister, don't take any chances thrown in the middle unless it's picking up big yardage.
First down. Once again, coming up next, 60 minutes. See what happened to 2 cops who had the guts to break the unwritten code known as the Blue Wall of Silence. Don't miss 60 Minutes tonight here on CBS, America's most watched network. Brister. Pump fake, throws, far side, intercepted by Coleman. Now 4 of the last 5 Denver drives have ended in turnovers, and this one virtually locks up a victory for the New York Jets.
Marcus Coleman again in perfect position against Rod Smith. Bubby Brister just throwing a prayer out there, just hoping that somehow his guy can come down and make the play. It was about the time of this drive in a position of the game where he had to take that chance.
Denver owner Pat Bowling would rather not have seen that.
Well, we all sit here and go, oh, come on, what can go on, what plays you can make, but the quarterback had to take a big gamble that time, and there was nothing there.
Clock rolling now at 45. Boy, Marcus Coleman, 2 interceptions today. His Texas Tech guys win last night. He's going to be one happy camper on the flight back to New York.
Yes, he is. Victor Green with 2 interceptions. I think Bill Parcells said it to us, Greg, last night. He says if you stay in this game long enough, and I'm saying it for Mike Shanahan, it's a very humbling game, the ultimate team game, and both of these coaches are experiencing that this year.
The Jets' first victory here at Mile High since November of 1978. And Bill Parcells looking for Mike Shanahan. 6 Denver turnovers didn't help their cause at all here at Mile High today. The coaches meet, congratulate each other, and then it's back to work on Monday.
Thank you.
Once again, our final score, the Jets 21 and the Broncos.